Welcome back, you champs, to another episode of The Ranting Redhead, and I am the host, Aiden. Today, I got a brand new guest on my channel. He's been begging me for a while to come on, and I'm so excited. Christian Rouleau, how you doing today, champ?
Doing good, buddy. I think you really embellished that a little bit, but definitely, I think begging was a harsh word. Let's talk about words.
Okay, words. Before we do that, as you all know, every time I bring a guest on, I always want them to bring a drink. And I'm not a big drinker, but as I like to say, I'm trying. So I let the guest pick, and what did you decide to pick today?
Well, being that we are at Thousand Acres Ranch in Stony Creek, I thought ranch water would be a good place to go. Original hard seltzer. Most people hate it.
I've never had it. You've had it.
I had it once.
And you like it.
I like it.
All right, let's see how this bad boy tastes. All right, here. Before we do, what should we toast to?
Ooh, what should we toast to?
That's a good question.
Well, we can always do what we talk. Let's toast to Tony.
Toast to Tony.
Toast to Tony.
L'chaim.
L'chaim. Wow.
It's not as bad as the Lake George IPA I had. Fuck you, Chris Apple.
Chris Apple.
Chris Apple. Chris Asshole for making me drink that piece of shit.
Chris Asshole.
I love you, Chris. I know you're coming back on my show, but ranch water, it tastes like what it sounds like. So, hey, you know what?
I think so.
Hey, you know, why should beer be different from a blonde? Anyway, what do you want to talk about today?
Well, I mean, I guess there's lots of things I could talk about. I want to talk about maybe the word thing just kind of came to me, but I'm very much a word guy, so we can definitely spread that into a number of things. But psychology and philosophy and things of that nature. Narcissism's an important one I like to talk about. Things that intelligent stuff.
Intelligent stuff. Okay, well let me put on the sunglasses again just to seem even more intelligent.
Okay.
Okay. So what kind of philosophy do you want to talk about?
Well, I think in general, philosophy is something that people use it rather loosely. You know, they say I have this philosophy or that philosophy, but no one really. I don't want to say no one. That's kind of an umbrella. But in my experience, I didn't realize I was into philosophy until I stopped and was like, wait a minute, I am. And for me, I never really had religion growing up. I didn't at all. Didn't have any sort of indoctrination of any kind, which is like the one favor that I can say for sure that I got from my family. Not that I didn't have other things, but still. And so for me, I was never trying to find God or trying to kill God, so to speak. So I ultimately just had to lean into my values and my virtues and the things that I determined on my own to be the point of life. I'm an existentialist. I'm also a stoic, or practicing stoic anyway. And I'm always reading philosophy and things of that nature. But for me, philosophy has been a great replacement for religion and things of that nature because it's just virtues.
Okay. When it comes to philosophy with me, I think there's a time and a place for it.
Okay.
I do not associate every single, I almost said scene, but every moment of my life with a piece of philosophy, I should say. Because I know plenty of people do, if I fall down the stairs, well, you know, the leaves on the tree are more noticeable than the bark. I'm like, shut the fuck up. I fell down a flight of stairs. What are you talking about?
I think that's the extreme example, too.
No, but I'm sure you have met people like that too.
Oh yeah,
where that kind of turns me off to a lot of
one of my parallels that I use when that comes up, because it always does when I'm talking about it, is I'm a huge metalhead, so but I listen to such a variety, and you know you can't see me on here, but you could probably tell that I listen to metal, but that's not what you look at, and it's not common for someone to just be like, oh, there's so many number of things that you could say about me if you were to look at me and judge me, but. When you think of the classic cliche example, you think of some dude that's going Slayer, yeah, whipping his head around, and just we had a kid in college that literally just was so cliche metal that unfortunately he's the one that represents us in that way. So yeah, you know what I mean. So
still probably gets laid more than I do, but anyway, go on.
No. He was actually on CNN one time for
all the right reasons.
No. Well, this is when I rolled my eyes at it. He was on CNN. And it was a quick, little, around the internet type thing, and it's just, he's sitting in a New York City subway just headbanging just windmilling.
Yeah.
And so, of course, that validated his fucking further ego. So, but yeah, so anyone in any cliche and furthest end of the spectrum that you go with something, it's all buzzwords, you know? It's so philosophy, feminism, these are all things that, a lot of people don't identify with because the words are hijacked and kind of have a now negative tone to them.
All right, so I got two separate philosophical questions for you, similar but different.
Okay.
What is your life? What to you is your life philosophy? What do you live by?
Well, I've been working on writing kind of a book, I guess, for a while, and I have a list of a number of them.
Do you have a title for the book?
Do I? I'm trying to think. Did I title the damn book?
Rouleau's Rants?
No, not quite. It's something more. So what I did basically is every day for like a month in March, for 26 days, I randomly picked a letter out of the alphabet, and I ripped off just like for like an hour. I would just list off every word that I could think of that was, a good word. Right. And it just prepared me to do all that, all the writing that I was gonna do. But I have like 26. I don't have it in this notebook. So like each letter, I sort of tried to define what my philosophy is. So I sort of have like 26 virtues. So like A is altruism, B is benevolence, C is chivalry, D is...
So it's one word, not like a sentence.
Yeah, okay. yeah. And then I kind of expound upon that more. So, I mean, for example, like, I ultimately just look at virtues and things of that nature, like, just things that I know to be true based on what I've seen and what I know, and I don't know anything at all. That's the first step of philosophy, is if you think you know, then you don't know enough.
You have to strip it down to the bare bones.
Yeah, so, like, for me, I have, like, this quick list here, like, so I just numbered them. It's kind of, these are the sentences, so these are kind of some of mine. So, like, you will love, you will lose. Make eloquence your muse. Often reflect on your virtues. Your family is who you choose. All things conclude. Nothing is absolute. Some sadness never leaves you. If life is but a dream, be lucid about it. You will die, and it will all have been but a dream. So, like, that's just 10. Like, that things that I can't conscionably disprove, and the things that I know to be true in my existence. So, like, and I have like 50 of them.
The only one on there that I question a little, and I totally get it.
I love it. I can't wait.
Is when you die, your life is just a dream.
Okay, so this was actually something that it dawned on me very late on, but everyone knows row your boat gently down the stream, merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Right. Heard it.
So, right, I've heard it once or twice. Yeah. But the actual, it's almost, it's in human nature to make things complex versus to go for the obvious thing. So when you think life is but a dream, so this is how I figured it out in my mind. When I was sleeping one day, I had a dream, and I woke up, and for me, my dreams, I never know I'm in them. I never know. I just feel like someone will be alive.
Put a pin in that.
Okay.
No, keep going, but like just put a pin in that.
Okay. So do you remember in like math, like percent over 100 equals is over of, that type of shit?
Right.
Or like probability where if P then Q. Mm-hmm. Those are the only things in math that made sense to me, period. And if you are dreaming and it feels as real as a dream when you're in a dream, for me, because I don't have lucid dreaming, which is why I say be lucid about the life that you're living now, not because if you can't be lucid in your dream, which is not easy. If I practiced, I probably could. But in any event, I never know. So when I wake up, that whole life is the same thing as my life will have been when I'm dead.
Interesting. The only reason I say that is because, yes, to you it is a dream, but to others it's not. It is and it isn't. Because there are people that, your stories, I think you're the type of guy, I will be telling stories about, like, our adventures together to other people, and then maybe they tell it, and that keeps spreading throughout the course of history. So I don't think it's necessarily a dream to others, but to you, yes, I agree.
It's simply just what the parallel is. It's not so much that it is literally a dream. I'm not that type of philosopher where it's like, hey, no. It's literally like if apple is to orange and whatever, so it's like a ratio thing. So I guess the best way I can explain it is that when I'm in a dream, I think life is real. It's as real as it is then as it is for me now, because I can't take myself out of the dream. I don't have that ability. I've never really had it. Maybe once or twice. Mm-hmm. So when that is gone and I'm gone, literally my life will have been as real as a dream. And then when those people are gone that knew me, it will been, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's literally as real. Just it's just the same thing. When you're dead, you don't have I can't go tap back into my dream.
Right.
I can't go tap back into my life either.
What do you think happened? Well, I want to say two things. One, the pin. That is something, I'm glad you said it later. I actually, whenever I am able to dream successfully, a lot of times I am able to pull myself out of it. Because at first, no. But then something will happen in a dream where I'm like, oh, just wake up. And I'm like that. I can wake up.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And I don't know why. I've asked other people, they don't have that experience. But there are so many times where I'm dreaming where just something, I'm like, this is a dream. And as soon as I acknowledge it, I'm awake.
Yeah, I don't really have any of that Tony Soprano thing where, like, he knows it's a dream type deal.
Right.
Like,
well, listen, nobody's as good as Tony Soprano. Maybe Al Bundy. But those are, like, the two heroes of television.
I would agree.
But what do you think happens after you die?
I think it doesn't matter what I think. Because so a big thing with my virtue in life and not having religion, a huge deal has been tangibles, things that, so like when something is bigger than me, I call it my orbit. Like it's just something that's going on that I recognize that I go, whoa, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G had to happen in a certain order. And like, I'm not trying to read the tea leaves and go, oh, maybe that means I'm a fucking prophet, or maybe that means I'm meant to be, or whatever. I just look at it, almost just kind of like tip my hat to the universe, and then I just keep going. I observe the shit that's bigger than me. Mm-hmm. Because it does happen, and everyone knows what I've told that shtick, like that line, to 1,000 different people, and every time I say it, they're like, oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, because there are things in this life that just by virtue of odds and probabilities that like coincidences do happen. So I don't necessarily think about what happens after death. I think the most logical thing is nothing. But I also have seen things like I've dreamt of a friend dying that I hadn't talked to in 10 years the night that he died. So like and then my grandfather, that's a whole series of events, him passing away and the craziness of all of that. You know, it's as good as any movie that you could possibly write. But if I spent my life trying to obsessively make sense of that shit, it's a waste of time, because what matters is the lucidity of this dream.
Yeah, for a long time, like when I'm talking like 10, 11, 12, I was obsessed with what happens when you die.
Sure.
And then eventually, I just was like, I was like very scared by it. Like, I'm like, I could die at any moment.
Well, here's a really interesting anecdote that I read recently that is kind of like, wow, like one of the only things that separates an animal or any other functioning creature from a human, besides like thumbs and shit like that, is that we eventually know we're going to die.
Yeah.
Animals might see death or whatever, but like we have the cognition to know that before we die that we are going to. Mm-hmm. And it's many philosophers agree that one thing that unites all of us is our fear of death.
I don't think I have that fear any longer.
It doesn't matter. It's a biological awareness that you can't even say, because like I don't fear it, but I guarantee you that the moment comes and you fear it. Like there's just nothing you can like.
I mean, none of us have any way of knowing that.
Bingo. So why spend the time worrying about that? You know.
See, I'm not on like a Jim Morrison level, but I'm like
you're not?
No.
You're not the Lizard King?
No, but I can do anything. But, just by the way, when you sit the beer down, just do it a little lightly because the microphone's right there. Yeah, thanks, Jim.
You're welcome.
But anyway, no, I don't want to say I welcome death, but I don't fear it as of this moment.
The only thing, again, so this is, as a neurodivergent thinker, ADHD, all that bullshit. Not bullshit, but shit that you just get afflicted with in life.
All those medical terms.
All those medical terms. You end up sort of. I guess you end up sort of trying to find. I'm always trying to find reason for everything. Like that's just. I mean, and a lot of what ends up happening, or finding a pattern for everything, or finding some sort of like chicken and egging. Just keep going and going and going. At a certain point, there's nowhere further to go, and you can keep going. And for me, like existentialism is also in that line. So for me, it was a journey finding existentialism, because it hurts when you land on it and you go, okay, maybe what if existentialism is basically this? What if like we don't know? What if we can't quantify anything that we don't know? So what we have is that we exist. You know what I mean? And part of that is sort of you have to go through the valleys of like being sad about the fact that maybe it is just life and death. Because I don't remember. Death will be as life was before we were alive. I don't remember it.
Yeah. No, I don't know. And I'm almost positive because this is someone going back to like stories passed down. I had an uncle. I think I maybe met once, but I've heard unlimited stories about him.
Sure.
And if I'm not mistaken, he was legally pronounced dead twice.
Sure.
And, he came
Did he
back.
say, what did he say he saw?
I never knew. I don't know. I'd have to ask someone.
Because a lot of things that I like to read and...
I'll ask. I mean...
Ask him.
We know somebody who works here.
Yep.
Who I'm sure we can ask. That I'm related to. But he went on with his life.
So a lot of people, I've done plenty of research on like what people's experiences are.
Everybody always will have a different experience.
Yeah,
there's always going to be common roots.
And here's the problem. When I said this about tea leaves earlier too, which is kind of just a colloquialism for, like what tea leaves means, right? Like reading the tea leaves.
Yeah,
like,
I know the expression.
It's kind of just loving the smell of your own shit and believing it type deal.
Yeah, I can't relate.
Yeah. Well, anyway. Is that light enough for you?
That's
baby?
light. See, he put it down. You're growing up. So
I am.
I'm so proud
I
of
sure
you.
am.
You're doing so good. Yeah. Ranch water, huh? It tastes like what it sounds like. It's not the worst thing, but
it's a ranch.
Imagine like putting like really, really bad expired ranch on pizza. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
I was thinking more of like a lemonade.
Lemonade? What the fuck are you talking? Lemonade.
Anyway.
This tastes. Hold on. I'm gonna pound this 1 second. I've never seen a little girl sell that kind of lemonade before.
No, well, maybe in Problem Child.
Well, shit happens, LG.
It happens. All right. Where was I on the? Do you remember where I was? No. I was talking about existentialism and shit like that.
Right.
And what happens like after death? Again, it's like. My philosophy is, I don't know why, it's just part, it's the nature-nurture debate, and, like, I think I've mentioned this debate, like, this, my answer to this, which is, like, it's like 49-49.
Your favorite team?
That's right. That's right. Go Niners, baby. Brock Purdy.
I don't know what any of this
Don't
means.
matter, baby.
And I'm still single.
Can I swear on this?
Fuck yeah.
Fuck Philly. Fucking hate Philadelphia.
Oh, but Rocky.
No, I don't care about that. It's not about Rocky.
No.
No, I don't care about that. I don't care to qualify Rocky as Philadelphian. Philadelphia.
There's a statue of him.
I understand. I qualify. No, it is the fans of the Eagles that need to get a shout out, not Philadelphia. You're right. I will redact my statements according to the virtue of Rocky.
Listen, I have now 2 rules on my show: nothing political and no bashing.
No Rocky slander.
No, because I should point this out before we continue this conversation. We are recording this as of July 4th. That's a good holiday, but the best holidays in 2 days. Christian, I've told you this. What's holidays in 2 days?
Rocky Day.
Sylvester Stallone's birthday. This country wasn't great until 77 years ago when the Italian Stallion was born, ladies and gentlemen. Look, today is Rocky IV Day, but July 6th is Stallone Day. So that's what I'm drinking to. Let's get back to philosophy.
Yeah.
I just had to point.
My philosophy is fuck Philly, but just their fans.
Just their fans. That's fair.
And their team.
I don't like a lot of... I don't like hardcore any sports fans.
Well,
like
it's unfortunate that I'm sitting here before you, buddy.
But people that live and die by it... Like, if you go to... Like, if you're at an event, different thing. But if you're just sitting at home, like, and you're watching, like, a fucking golf tournament and you're going ape shit, like, you're jerking off to Tiger Woods, I don't get it, you know?
No one's doing that.
Well, sure.
But I get where you're going with that.
Yeah. I'm so proud I named a golf player.
The only yeah.
The only one I can name.
And the other one that you drink.
Ranch water.
Ranch
That's what
water.
it does to you.
Shit.
Okay, I got one for you. I asked you your life philosophy. What is the meaning of life?
So I tend to lean into the meaning of life is It's so unfortunate. So, like, remember when I said earlier that, like, complexities is the natural thing? I spent most of my life, like, doing all of the abstract thinking and all that shit, and I always bring this up, but the literary device of Occam's razor is one where a lot of times it's the simplest, most obvious thing that you just kind of ignore because your pattern is to go, whoa, wicked complex thing, it's human, it's crazy, we gotta untangle it, and really all you had to do was push the stupid cable in to your amp, not take apart your guitar and throw away the amp after you've destroyed it. Like, all true things, but, like, it's just the nature of how things go. So for Occam's razor, I try to apply it to everything, and, like, the only answer I can find is that the purpose of life is to not hate it while you're here, and to not treat people terribly. You know, I'm very much of manners and I'm not traditional at all. If you looked at me, I'm not. But, like, as far as some tradition, like, there's certain values that, like,
we've lost a lot of good traditions over time.
Definitely. You know, I'll never not hold that door. I'll always clean that table up after myself. I'll always, you know, say please and thank you. Like, I do give out praise when I feel it. Like, these are all things that I do now because it's very easy for me. I did all that abstract thinking of how to become a human being most of my life, so that now I'm just kind of this abstract human that isn't trying to be abstract anymore.
Right.
You know, I just am as a you know, whatever. So I guess my philosophy literally is just to be good to people, and also to not be miserable, because as a manic depressive, like, it's both. I very much have Robin Williams mentality, or all the to know something's beauty is to know just how cruel it all can be, and then you have to find some sort of, like, existential safe place to qualify all that and make it make sense, and that is hard to do. That's hard on the soul.
Yeah, I'm gonna give two answers. One is not original. Well, both of them aren't original, but I'll explain. One of them, I would be remiss if I did not quote my geometry teacher in high school when he said, he's like, okay, man, you know, when I got an email for the first time, I had to email my hero, Bruce Campbell. And I asked him, what was the meaning of life? And the real Bruce Campbell actually responded and just put linoleum. So I'd be remiss if I did not mention that.
I like that.
But I'm going to say my life philosophy, I'm going to just give a quote. You know, Coach, I may play ball, but I will not sign your form.
Okay. Expound upon that. What does that mean to you?
To me, you can play other people's games, but go by your rules. That makes sense to you. Do what you want. You can be around others. You can have fun with others, but don't just fall into other people's trends. Live your own life. Be your own individual.
Yeah.
And that's the meaning of the movie Dazed and Confused.
Nice.
That's what it's from.
So I'm whipping through my notebook here, and I'm seeing a couple other things. So this actually is my alphabetics. I guess I was going to title my book either The 26 Commandments, which is ironic, because one of my favorite features of me is that I'm ironic. I'm not religious, but that's my name. Like, and I listen to a lot of metal, and I like a lot of, you know, so, like, I observe the natural poetry of whatever. But, like, things like I think I said 26 Commandments, the morality alphabetics of the human condition, things of that nature, because I don't know, I really feel like, again, with the words and the things of that nature.
Can I ask a random letter and you tell me?
Yeah.
I want to know X.
Now see, this is my favorite one.
Really?
I combined X and Y because, you remember ordered pairs?
No.
Ordered
is this
pairs.
Like a fruit or something?
No, it's in math, so X and Y axis, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right, so if X then Y, like, no matter what, it's X and Y. It's like length and width or whatever. It's just all. So I that one is at the end, so it's going to be. I actually have a huge list of, like, things that things that I should be talking. I wish I had that shit on me right now. I don't. But so things like ordered pairs, things that almost paradoxically make sense. So
me and you.
Right, there you go. You know, ordered pairings. It's just that there's an X and a Y, and we don't know why.
Right. Alcohol and marriage.
Shit, I really regret not having my huge list. Anyway,
Condoms and Rite Aid.
Maybe we.
I'm just trying to think of things that go smoothly together.
Yeah, I mean, anything. It was far more.
Eddie Van Halen and music.
But, like, some things, like, I guess the ultimate lesson for life for me is truly that it's the truth that I know, and we live in a world where everyone goes, I know the truth. I am the truth. I remember that the right way. Okay, whatever. Yeah, okay, whatever. Fine.
Maybe the way that's convenient for them, but not the definitive way.
There is no absolute. There is no definitive, which is why it's always important for. So, I remember what I was going to title my book. It's more or less. I think it was going to be, things. Things I see as I see them, and I see nothing at all. Because
I'll just say it's a long title, but not a bad title.
Right. Again, it's just like kind of paraphrasing where I want to go with it.
Of course.
But like these are just truths that so when I find like an unfortunate truth, I call them fragile truths, like things that I just go, so even when like quote unquote God shows himself, where it's like, okay, that big powerful thing that just happened, I'm almost defiantly like, fine, okay, I see you, and I kind of flip the bird to the idea, like it's begrudgingly. So I guess my purpose in life is to find things that almost universally everyone sort of understands to be true.
Give me an example. What's something everyone understands to be true?
Well, I mean, a friend of ours, Andy, I've shared this with her, but I've shared it with a lot of people, and it's funny. That's always the one on my list that always comes through, is some sadness will never leave you. And my grandmother, who's 75, was like, that's the one that she stopped at. And she's like, you know what? And like, she's been through more shit like than anyone in the entire universe. And she's one of the biggest reasons I even am the way that I am. Like, and her son died like of alcoholism when he was younger than me. Like it's so like she's been through all these things, and like she's never ever really once like broken down about it or cried about it or talked about it. Just very stuff,
But it's always gonna be with her.
And I asked her, I'm like, and she's like, yeah, sometimes it like some shit doesn't leave you. It just doesn't. And it kind of falls into this other one, which is like some stains never wash away. The ink always goes down dry. Always. No matter what you do. So if I was a good person today, and I feel that I am, to the degree that I'm proud of, which is really all you have, if I decided to go out and fucking beat a woman or rape her, that does make all the past shit totally bullshit. I can't one day
that's
just
the facade.
Right, you have to maintain the consistency of being what you say you are. And I think it's easy to forget that the ink goes down dry, because it does, no matter what you do.
If you were to die as soon as this podcast finishes, if you were to you fell down the stairs and broke your neck, I don't know.
Sure.
Do you think if like a few seconds you could die knowing, like, dying happy right now?
Knowing that I did enough?
Yes.
I had a moment, actually, in my life where, it's one of the most fucked up stories that I even have. A friend of mine, abridged version. A friend of mine was apparently being raped by her boyfriend, and I didn't know, which is crazy, because you would think that you would know.
So, just have to pause you for 1 sec. Where we are recording, if you hear voices, it's just in the background, just giving a heads up, because I'm not recording where I usually am. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just had to acknowledge it. Go ahead.
That's okay. And the long and short of it is she came to me, and she had to explain to me with her new baby, like, that everything that I knew about their relationship was a lie, like the families and all that shit, and it sort of got thrust onto me just by, again, this is virtue. Like, I needed to help her. I needed to save her. I also was friends with this guy, so I needed to, I had to cancel him while he was in jail at the time, like, calling and harassing her and all that stuff. And, I mean, I was witnessing it, so, like, my mind was just being blown. Long and short of it is that by the end of it, like, I remember every decision that I had to make, and it was literally bang, 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 bang. Like he would call and harass, and then I'd have to call his family, and then his family would do this. It was just like this whole big thing. And I just remember at the end of it, when it was, and it's not a happy story. It didn't end well because she went back to him. But nevertheless, like, at the end of my story, I remember like crying my eyes out and looking at my friend Kyle and saying, like, Kyle, if I died today, I know that every chance I had, like, I could have easily blown up this guy's spot, done this to, like, just been awful and just or done something selfish for me. I could have literally just been like, I'm gonna be with you. You don't be with this guy. And, like, you see yourself at, like, each time. I remember, like, very vividly seeing myself each time at the end of this diving board, and it's like, do I want to dive for me, or am I just gonna stand here and try to do something else. And every single time when it was very black and white, I was like, do I want to do this thing that I could just end this bullshit right now and selfishly just take it over, or do I try to do the altruistic thing, the noble thing, the thing that morally, and I can't even tell you, it was like probably 50 different decisions I had to make in the course of like 2 days, as I'm like taking a surrogate father for this baby that's crying, and it's like it's a crazy story. Definitely would need a whole podcast on its own, but I remember literally looking at Kyle and going, dude, if I died today, I can literally walk my ass into heaven, because I know that I within myself felt the same challenges of like, do the selfish thing. Aren't you tired of this? Do that selfish thing right now. Just end it. Steal her away. She's like your little sister. She loves you. She fell in love with me. It's all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't. And I remember crying like a baby, because it was just like, it really is like a detached, like almost like pseudo-Baptistic moment where you're, I don't know. I just remember always wondering if I was ever good enough, and I still feel like that way. I mean, that's just the human nature of the brain. But like, it's, I know that I've consciously put in my soul from a very long time, through my grandmother, through other influences in my life, that my goal is to be someone that anytime someone met me, they just go, man, I'm thankful I knew him for 10 seconds. Mm-hmm. Or he made my day better, or whatever. And you have to stick to that, and it's not easy. So
that's always been my thing, where my biggest fear is being forgotten. And I've always said before, like, the only reason I could sleep at night and keep going is I'm like, hey, I made somebody laugh today.
Same thing. So like, that's why I can't even tell you how many random people, like just as customers in my stores, or just like friends that are whatever, I had a customer one time at my toy store that I was working. He came back and he's like, dude, can you help me with my life? Like, you were talking some seriously amazing shit earlier. Like, teach me about some things. And I sat after work and just like talked to this dude for like 2 hours, and he was blown away. And it's not some like beat yourself on the chest moment where you're like, yeah, this guy fucking wants to hear my shit. It's like, this guy senses that I can give something to him, and that to me is the ultimate like gift. Like when someone's like, you can help me. Helping is the purpose of life, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah. I became very comfortable with giving when I had none.
Yeah.
And therefore I can live when I have nothing, but I can live better with myself knowing for at least 10 years, if not 20 years, I've been very conscious of the fact that like how you treat people and how you speak to people and what you say and all of that matters as much as what you do. So the common thing is like, well, be more about it and say less about it. Well, no, like it's okay to do both. Like, and both matter equally as much to me. Mm-hmm. Who says what and how? Like things coming from me, coming out of your mouth might not sound the same way, but I have to be aware of that and adjust accordingly. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but. Well, here we go. How you speak to others are the reputations that are preceding you. You will only be remembered by these.
There you go.
Seriously.
No, I agree, and I'm very glad you answered the question and shared that perspective. I very much appreciate that. But now I'm going to give you the chance to do the same thing with me, because this is a segment you came up with called The Careless Ginger. You titled this. Basically, you have the chance to ask me
Shout out to George Michael.
But you have the chance to ask me any question that you can possibly think of, but you got 30 seconds to do it, so go.
Any question I can possibly think of about you, Aiden?
Yes, any question you want. You have 25 seconds left.
Okay, Aiden.
Whenever you'd like.
Why are we friends?
Good question.
I know.
Why are we friends? Well, it's funny, because we did meet before I became a Sopranos fan.
Yeah.
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
No, I like that question.
You got 10 seconds to answer, buddy.
This is my show. I call the shots.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I'm always, and I know you disagree with this, I'm always fascinated by outgoing people as someone who is not. I don't find sure, on my show I can talk whatnot, but this is my platform.
Sure.
But as you know, like, I'm very uncomfortable in meeting new people. I'm always very quiet initially.
Sure.
Once you know me, I am outgoing. I'm more like that. But you always had that face. I know a lot of times you're not, but I'm always fascinated by seeing just people that not say random shit. That I find fascinating, but like people that are willing to have any discussion you so desire.
Sure.
Will not hide their perspective because they're afraid of what you might say.
Is that me?
Yes. I think that's why I became friends with you, and you liked my dorky shirts, I remember.
But that's, yeah, for sure. But that, I always think it's funny because you brought it up earlier. You were making a joke. You're like, I fucking can't stand people that are obsessed with sports, and yet, like, you and I are together every single day.
Yes, but you don't, but I'm saying...
I'm just saying in general, you looking at me we're an odd couple.
Yes.
So
you know what I think we're like Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones.
Is that what you think? Yeah.
Yes, I'm Tommy Lee Jones and you're Will Smith.
Yeah, we're not a Chris Farley, David Spade situation.
We can be. Really a fat joke at this moment, but anyway, who'd be who? Farley and Spade.
I don't know. Ooh, you'd probably have to be.
Oh, because I can do the voice.
Well, but also because like you wouldn't be. You wouldn't be scolding me for anything. I would be the one that's like, Aiden, come on, man.
Richard, what's happening?
Did I get a niner in there? Yeah, you did, motherfucker. Got a niner right in there.
Yeah. Let me tell you why I suck as a salesman. Then I got excited. I'm like, Jojo, the elite circus boy with a brand new pet. And the pet is my possible sale.
Shout out to Chris.
Chris Farley. R.I.P. If you could resurrect any actor, who would you want?
Actor?
Yeah, an actor who... I just don't want to say any celebrity because you're gonna name like a football player that I don't know.
No, I wouldn't. No.
But okay, like a celebrity who died too soon.
I would have gone Freddie Mercury all day long, baby.
What? How old was he when he died?
God, he must have been in his 40s, 46 maybe.
I thought you were gonna say Jim Croce.
Jim Croce's a good one. I do like Jim Croce a lot. Depends on if I'm answering it for selfish reasons or if I'm being selfless and going, okay, that guy deserves the rest of his life. Selfishly, I just want Freddie a lot. Like Jim Gandolfini, there's another one.
Yeah.
I absolutely, that one is hard on me. I just would like to have him knowing alive. Like, just to know that he's alive would be good.
I mean, he was older, but definitely circumstances died too young. If I said Robin Williams, would that be applicable?
Yeah, that's applicable. I mean, no matter what, it is weird. We live in a world without him. We only ever knew a world with him.
That's the first celebrity death that just hit me more than anything else was Robin Williams.
For me, it was actually when I was a kid. It was John Ritter.
Ooh,
it was John Ritter. He died on 9/11. I remember that.
Yep.
Not the day of 9/11, but like a year after or something. But that was sad. I remember Jim Gandolfini dying, but I also, the one that like I'll never forget where I was when I heard it is Michael Jackson. That one was a big fucking deal. That was the day before I graduated high school.
Yeah, I remember that being a big deal.
Yeah.
I remember, because I did not know, I'll never forget this day. It was in 2020, in like September or October. I was working and I just went out to my car on my break. I was just disgusted. I was like, I don't want to look at my phone. I just want to like just close my eyes for 15 minutes. And like 2 minutes left, I just happened to look at my phone for the time. And another buddy, ironically, his name is Christian as well. He sent me a text saying, "Oh man, so sorry, R.I.P. Eddie." And I'm like, what the fuck? Yep. And I opened it up, and Eddie Van Halen died.
Yep.
And it's so weird that like everybody knows I'm a huge Van Halen fan. Mm-hmm. It felt so weird having people text me saying, "Oh, so sorry." I'm like, I didn't know the guy.
Yeah.
I didn't get that. Like, I didn't want to be rude.
But you are associated.
Yeah, of course. But I'm like, it's not like I'm gonna cry about it, you know. Like, well, okay. If Sylvester Stallone were to die right now, I'd be upset. I wouldn't cry. I didn't know him.
Yeah, see, we definitely process emotion differently then. So, like, for me, I get very, very in the moment and become very aware that, like... So, like, Prince and Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington, they all died within, like, 3 months, and these are people that have...
Alan Rickman's around the same time.
Right, exactly. And, like, for me, or, like, I wasn't even a basketball fan at this point, but, like, Kobe dying, like, I remember literally, like, my mom being like, holy fuck. Like, it was something that you just couldn't help but put yourself into. Like, you threw yourself into a helicopter, and they had, like, 10 seconds probably where they both knew that they were fucked.
Well, I'll also say this. That's different because that was an accident as well. Maybe that would hit me differently. Like, the Robin Williams thing hit me.
Yeah.
if like Eddie Van Halen did not.
Okay, yeah, okay, all right.
Okay, if someone were to just, God forbid, someone were to just go up and shoot Kurt Russell, that I would be like, oh my god.
So for me, when I was 14, the guitarist of Pantera growing up was one of my heroes and influences, Dimebag Darrell Abbott. And he, when I was 14 on December 8th, which is the day that John Lennon was killed, he got murdered on stage by a psycho fan.
Yeah.
And that I remember being a fucking real like moment for me where I was like, wow, this guy that like I literally have his guitar, like whoa, like so that I don't remember crying per se, but I remember literally just feeling that sense of like mortality in that moment. Like he did nothing, no effects of anything. Like he couldn't have stopped it if he wanted to. Like it just happened that way, and like that's what I mean by reading tea leaves too. Like you can say, oh my god, this was, you know, meant to be that way, or it doesn't matter what it was. It just happened. Things just happen.
Yeah.
And closure is a myth. You are lucky to get it if you can get it, but closure is not something that I'm familiar with.
Interesting. Are there any movies that make you cry?
Yeah, Fox and the Hound.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that one always makes me
Starring Kurt
cry.
Russell.
Yeah. and Grandpa Joe.
That's true. Unknowingly, that was the first Kurt Russell movie I ever saw.
What? Planes, Trains, and Automobiles every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
I'll say this. That one doesn't get me every time, but it does sometimes. Like, it will not hit. There's a few movies. I mean, we talked about it. Like, it's not a movie, but that Linda Ronstadt song.
Oh, yeah.
Long, long time. That'll get me every time.
Yeah, that was good. Shout out to Last of Us, baby.
Yep. But, no, there's a few movies that get me every time. One of them, apparently this doesn't get everyone like it gets me, but the end, or not the end, but the goodbye in Monsters, Inc. always gets me.
Yeah, that's pretty
scene
heavy.
Always gets me to cry every time.
When Toy Story 3 came out and like they're about to be burned to death, and you're like, you
that
actually
one didn't
convinced.
hit me.
It hit me because it was my generation that Andy was. Andy
That's
was that
fair.
age. I was going to college when he was going to college. He
That's
was
fair.
letting go when I was letting go, and literally, I'm like, I was sure. I convinced myself that like somehow that they were going to burn those toys alive.
See, I agree that's a set, but that's not the moment that gets me. It's the very end.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, I
it's
thought
the
you were saying
end.
when- okay, I thought
when
you were
he's
saying when-
leaving.
Yes,
I'm
no,
saying
that
all
gets-
of that whole pretty much from that point on is just like because like I'm thinking like my past is dying.
Yeah.
I'm actually believing that this is going to happen somehow, and I know that like that wouldn't happen because I'm just so consumed with like what it represents.
Yes.
That at the end when he's leaving at college and like he's all of that stuff is like way heavy for me.
Yeah, that one gets me. An underrated movie called Awakenings from 1990 gets me. Robert De Niro and Robin Williams. Mm-hmm. That one gets me a couple times. I only saw the movie once, but the longest I cried for maybe a half hour straight when I watched Boyhood.
Never saw it.
Do you know what it's about?
No.
Okay, so Boyhood was actually filmed over a time span of 12 years. They had just this little kid, and they were just kind of filming him grow up. It's by the guy who did Dazed and Confused, Richard Linklater.
Yep.
And Patricia Arquette plays the mom.
Nice. Severance.
Finally watched it. But it's from him as a kid to when he's going off to college is when that movie takes place. I saw that movie in between the period of I was done with high school, but I didn't graduate yet.
Mm-hmm.
Just that little week. And just seeing him grow up and seeing like my life parallel that.
Definitely.
That just hit me so hard.
So for me, it's definitely, I cry in real life scenarios and at songs way harder than I do at movies. It's actually hard for a movie to
I got one that it doesn't get me every time, but sometimes it does. We have a guest. Sorry, just 1 second. Through the magic of editing, we'll continue in just a sec.
Pause.
All right, champs, that was the magic of editing right there. I'm back. So one thing I did want to say, a movie that it doesn't make me cry every time. There's two comedies that kind of get me. One of them I know you've seen, but the other one is Grumpier Old Men. I saw that movie so many times as a kid, but it's Burgess Meredith, his death. Oh, and his death in Rocky 3, of course. Mm-hmm. But in the beginning of the movie, he's talking about like you know everyone around me has died. You know, sometimes I wonder if God's forgotten about me. And that's at the beginning of the movie. And it just keeps going on. What's his name? I always want to say John Lennon. Jack Lemmon.
Uh-huh.
He's his son. And, like, you know, shit's hit the fan with him. You know, just his friendship's broken. Whatever. It's like the low point of the movie. And they always had this couch that they would just go fishing off of. Mm-hmm. And Burgess Meredith is always there. And he goes up and he's like, this happened, that happened. Me and the wife were in separate beds. Now, what am I going to do about it? And it cuts to him. His eyes are closed. And he's just like, Pop? And he just holds his hand, checks his pulse, and just says, I guess God remembered you.
Ooh, you know what?
That one gets me every time.
You just reminded me. This is a very oddball, stupid thing answer to your question. And it's actually Adam Sandler's Click.
Oh, I can
when
see
he
that.
starts treating Henry Winkler like shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude.
It's just Henry Winkler's face. That's the only thing I remember. I don't love that movie, but I remember that scene.
It's seriously some of the saddest shit in the world. Like it's. I mean, obviously the premise of the movie is that he wants to, go back and hit replay, and he can't do it and shit like that. So when he's like screaming at his dad, you're just like, no, he just wants you to. That gets me hard.
So I'll say one before we go into the final minutes of the show. There's one other movie that we both love this movie, and it's not even it's the way it's edited that gets me every time, and the acting is a part of it. But it's when Big Tom Callahan dies in Tommy Boy.
Yeah.
That one and it's just him kind of walking by himself with Amazing Grace playing in the back. Like, I don't know why. Just that I mean, the funeral scene is sad enough, but just that moment
It's
of just
empty.
him being like alone.
You feel alone with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, just that I really like that moment for some reason.
Yeah.
That one's always just connected with me. I've talked about saddest comedy deaths, and I think those are the two.
John Candy. John Candy's.
Oh, just in general. Okay. I thought you were saying in a movie.
Well, John Candy saying the "I like me" thing is like, that one kills me.
See, that's not the scene that it's just him, saying like, I don't have a wife.
Yeah, no, that too. But like the "I like me" speech just really used to get me.
That one's good. Although to me, before I ever saw that movie, that scene was like memed. I had seen like parodies of it.
That's crazy.
So I
come from a generation, folks, where memes didn't exist.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
I'm not a boomer, okay?
You gonna finish that ranch water, bud?
Yeah. Hold on. Say something witty while I finish.
Whitman samplers. I got nothing.
No, I don't anymore.
Great.
All right.
Cheers.
Oh, fuck. That's gross. Glad it's done.
All right.
I'm going to have a White Russian after.
Oh, okay.
That's what the dude has, All right.
And he abides.
He abides. Now, I'm going to give you a chance to win $10, Christian.
Oh, this is fun.
Because I'm a selfish
I seem to remember it being $20 previously.
No. So, here's the premise.
Absolutely not.
I'm going to write it down. You got a pen? Anybody got a pen?
Of course I do.
I need a pen. Here, just give me that. I'm going to take just a dry erase thing, Don't worry, I'm not going to
Professional college marker.
not gonna autograph it. You're not gonna have this celebrity's phone number. Okay. What is my third favorite movie character of all time?
Third favorite movie character
Third
of all
favorite
time.
movie character. Let's do something random.
So, let's see. Indiana Jones has got to be number one.
No.
That's not fair, according to you, because
No.
if that is your obsession, like...
Okay. I will explain this quickly. That's why I don't love Last Crusade as much, because they try to develop his character. To me, he's like a Mad Max or a Man with No Name in the Man with No Name trilogy. He's kind of a vessel to this. You could put anybody in there. It's the adventure that I like, not the character. The character's great and awesome, but I obsess over the story and the way it's filmed more than the character.
But you put it on the Sopranos comparison for me, and for me, it's both.
That's fair, but
So, I guess I'm just...
I'll say the obsession is the same. I'll put it that way. Okay. I'll tell you my top two.
Okay, that'll help me.
Rocky and Rambo. Rocky number 1, Rambo number 2.
Okay, and your third favorite of all time.
If you'd like a hint, I'll give you a hint, but I'll drop it down to $5.
No, I would rather have a guess, and if I miss that guess, $5 for the second guess.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll give you a free hint.
Okay, is it... Go ahead.
There are 2 names I will accept.
Is Robert De Niro one of them?
Do you want that hint?
Yeah, I want that hint.
No.
Okay.
It's not a generic character, no, it's 5.
Okay. What was the hint that you gave me?
I'll give you that. He can go by 2 names. I will accept 2 names.
It's got to be the character or the actor that plays him.
I doubt you'd name the actor, but if you want to say the actor, sure.
Oh, you think it's more like... So I've seen this movie?
I believe so. I'm almost positive you've seen this.
Is it... Okay, it's not Cusack and Better Off Dead?
No. It's not. It is. I know this dry erase marker is weird, but Tuco Ramirez from The Good, The Bad, and The Ugly.
I would have never gotten there, but I understand it.
You understand?
We have not talked about it, so that was kind of a shitty question.
We talked about The Good, The Bad, and The Ugly.
Yeah, but come on, third favorite character in that film.
Hey, I said selfish. Did I not warn you?
Yeah, well, whatever. I'll live with my $10 being not mine.
That's fine. Well, to quote the movie Better Off Dead, I want my $2. The most underrated comedy of all time.
Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story.
Yeah, well, Better Off Dead is a comedy about suicide, and that's something we all need in our lives.
Suicide, yeah.
Yes. I concur. Christian, why would you say that anyway?
Yeah.
So, This is the Ranting Redheads rapid fire questions. 3 minutes on the clock. I will ask you just a bunch of rapid fire questions. And you can take as long as you want on an answer, but you want to go quick to get more questions in. Are you ready, champ?
Yep.
All right. Ready, set, go. Worst name?
Todd.
Oh, highest bowling score?
Probably 150.
Do you read your horoscope?
No.
Oldest age you date right now?
32.
Have you ever stuck to a diet?
Yes.
Buried or cremated?
Doesn't matter.
Biggest celebrity crush?
Amelia Clark.
Are you polite to women?
100% of the time.
In this world, there's two kinds of people. Who are they?
You and me.
Whatever. Overrated animal?
Cats.
Cats? Most embarrassing thing you've done to impress a hot chick?
Wow, that's a fucking toughie. Most embarrassing. It's hard. I don't know that I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Give me next.
How often do you shampoo your hair?
Once every week, 2 weeks, if that.
Do you hate TikTok?
I don't care.
You could play any villain. Who would you want to play? 2 minutes left.
Any villain in any series of any kind?
Anything.
I would like to be a villain in... Oh, shit. Sopranos.
Okay. Do you feel racist when you say the word ginger?
Never.
Would you bang an alien?
Nah, not really.
Name an underrated movie.
Shit. Next.
Would you ever go skeet surfing?
No.
McDonald's or Burger King?
Burger King.
Did you ever listen to the Pork Chop Express on 92.7?
I actually did.
Oh! Should I shave my head?
No.
Time travel to any year. Where are you going? 90 seconds.
I'm going to 1970.
Okay. Do you buy organic food?
Not unless No.
First thing you do when you wake up this morning?
This morning, saw you.
Got yourself a gun. Tony
Oh!
Soprano or Walter White?
Tony Soprano.
Han Solo or Indiana Jones?
Indiana Jones.
Biggest celebrity encounter. 1 minute left.
Rick Allen from Def Leppard.
Last movie you saw in theaters?
Oh, shit. Probably Batman.
Okay. Do you have a signature catchphrase?
Do I? I say absolutely a lot.
Do you wear Crocs?
No, but I'm not, I wouldn't preclude myself from wearing them.
Tell me a joke right now.
Okay, what did the homeless guy get for his birthday?
What?
Nothing.
Okay, are condoms for pussies?
Technically.
Okay, who do you hate more, preemies or the elderly?
The elderly.
Do you know what old Jack Burton always says at a time like this?
I do not.
Best Rocky sequel.
All of them.
You ever score 4 touchdowns in a single game?
I'm not Al Bundy.
Oh, yeah. John Wick or John Rambo?
John Rambo.
Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
No.
Best sandwich?
Turkey.
10 seconds left. Worst Christmas gift you've ever got?
Oh my god. Shit. Oh my god. Pass.
Ever receive a lap dance?
No.
What's more important to you, personality or looks?
Personality.
And we did it! 3 minutes of rapid fire Ranting Redhead questions, and that's it for this episode of the Ranting Redhead. We both finished our beers, and that's the way we end it. So if you want to come on this show, ladies, let me know. And men, you're welcome to. Christian, you have any final words you'd like to say?
No, man. It was good. Go Niners, baby.
Yeah. You ever want to come back on, just let me know. And by the way, 2 things. 1, Jack Burton always says, what the hell? And it's funny, I'm surprised you didn't get this, being the fact that we just talked about the movie. There are only 2 kinds of people in this world. Those with loaded guns and those who dig. You dig.
I was living in my philosophical conversation.
Well, the good, the bad, and the ugly is the world I want to live in. Thanks so much, champs, for listening to another episode of The Ranting Redhead. I'll be back later, you bitches and bastards, with another episode. Until then, bye-bye.
Peace out.